everyone, welcome you all. So in this video, I'm going to explain about Python modules. Now let us understand what is module. A module is a Python file which contains a set of functions you want to include in your applications. So a module contains or accessed with the import statement. So what does it mean is a module is a Python file, so which contains multiple functions. So those functions we can access from a different module. So for example, let us say I have a main function. This is our main class or a main Python file. So I have defined multiple functions in different files. So again, each and every file is a different Python file, right? So these files we can call them as a modules. And this is a main module, so we can call all these modules from this main module, and we can split the complete code into different pieces. So those pieces we can put them in the Python files in the form of Python files called as a modules. Now let us see how we can organize these modules and how can we define these modules, how we can call these modules in some other modules with an example. Let me just open my Python. So let me start giving a small example here. Let me just create a new Python file, and this is the first module I'm creating. So I'm just say the name of the module is operations.py. Py by default it will add. So operations is the name of the file. Now this is the first module I created. So in this module I will create two different functions. Let us say def add. It takes two parameters and it will print some of these two parameters. And I'll create one more function called as a mul. It will take the two parameters and it will perform multiplication of these two numbers. This is one module. This is a one module called as operations.py. And similarly, I will create one more module that is actually the main module. Let me create one more module. Let us say it is also a Python file. So in this file, I'm just give some name as a main. This is the main module. So I want to use these functions from the main module. Okay. So here we can access these functions from the module in three different ways. So all three different approaches we have. I'll show you what are those approaches. The first approach will be like this. The first approach is approach 1. So in approach 1 is we have to use import statement, import and operation. So this is the name of the module. Import operation. Import operations. Operations is a module. So once we have imported this module, we can use this. We can call those functions directly by using this module. Let's say operations dot add. Now we can say pass two numbers as an input. And similarly, I can also call one more function operations dot add of, let's say 10, 20. So this is one approach. We can just import this module using import keyword, and by using this module name directly we can access this function. This is a multiplication functions, right? MUL. Now let's run this code. Now we can see there is some issue, missing one required argument. So this is a comma, right? Now let's run this. Now we are getting addition of these numbers is 30, multiplication is 200. This is a first approach. So we can directly import this particular module, and by using module name we can access the functions. Alright. Suppose in this approach, suppose if I want to call all the functions, every time I need to specify the module name. Okay. So there is one more approach. Suppose if I don't want to create this module, every time I don't want to mention this module name, then how we can call these functions? And we have one more approach. You can say approach 2. In approach 2, we can first use a from keyword. So from operations module import, from operations module import, what are the functions we have? Add and a multiplication. So this is another approach. We can import these functions from this module, and then we can just directly call them. So we can pass some values 10, 20, and then we can call this another function 30, 10. Okay, so this is another approach we have. Let's run this code. It gives the output, same output. All right. Now, so this is second approach. Suppose in the second approach, I have only two functions in module, so that I can directly specify here. Suppose here n number of modules you don't know. I have 10 modules there in the 10 functions are there in my module. So in this approach, I have to specify each and every module by separating every function, separating the comma here. So instead of putting all these functions in the list, instead of this, we can just say star. So that is another approach. So in approach 3, we can do the same thing, but here instead of specifying the functions, we can just say star. Star means it will import everything everything from this particular module operations. All right. Now it will also execute it will also give the same thing. So this is these are the different approaches we can follow to get or to access all the functions from the module. All right. So sometimes what happens is there are multiple modules having the same functions. Here we have only one module which have two functions, so that we have imported that particular module, we are able to access this. And there is one more scenario. For example, let us say module 1 and module 2, right? So here also we have a dispute function, and here also we have a dispute function. Now, suppose in the main program, I have imported M1 and M2. Two modules I have imported. And when I call the disp function, from which module this function will be called? Because this same function is present in the both modules, right? And which function it will be called? Now let's see through practically. So let me just go to Python again. So I'm just removing this two files, and then I will create a fresh files. Now see that. So suppose two modules are having the same function, then we can do that. So how we can do that? How we can access them in the main module? Now let me create one more Python module. So I will name this module as animal, and in this module I will create few functions. I will create two functions. The first function is def fly, and this function I have just written some message called print animal con fly. And one more function I created color. In this function I have created animal is black, and save this module. I will create one more module now. Go to Python file. I will name it as a bird. Okay. So in this module also I will write the same functions. I'll write the same functions. Now you can see this fly function, but this body is different. Print bird can fly, bird is green. But here animal can't fly, animal is blank. So body is different, but functions are exactly same. In the animal module we have fly and color function. In the bird module also we have fly and color function. Now let's create one main module. Go to Python file. I will name it as a main. Okay. Now here I want to access these functions from both the modules. So here how we can import this? Again we can follow the different approaches. Now let's see in the first approach how we can do that. Approach 1. In approach 1 we directly import methods, right? Import modules. Let's say import animal is a one module, and again import bird is another module. I have imported two modules. Now by using module name we have to call those functions, right? When I say animal dot, we have a fly function, and also animal dot we have a color function. So here we can clearly specify which function is coming from which module. Okay, here we don't have any issue. Similarly, I'll specify the bird module dot fly function and bird module dot color function. So when I run this code, we don't have any issue with this. We are getting the output perfectly. So these two statements are coming from this animal, and these two statements are coming from the bird. All right. So this is one approach. Suppose the second approach. Suppose in another approach, I want to suppose I see I've used from keyword. So from animal import star means two functions will be imported. Again from the bird import star. So imported all the from bird as well as animal module. So now let's see here. So now here I will just call, when I say from animal import star bird animal import star, I can directly access those functions, right, without specifying any module name. Suppose when I say fly here, now so this fly function present in animal as well as a bird in the two modules, right? But which module, from which module it will be executed? So whichever module we have imported at the earliest, at the last, so it will call from this particular module. Now let's run this code. Before this, let me just remove this. Now in the second, this is approach 2 actually. So this is a approach 2. Okay, so in the approach 2, what happens is whichever module we have imported last, so this function will be called from that particular module. So when I run this, fly function is executed from the bird module. Okay, and similarly, if I say one more function called a color function, if I call, that will also coming from the bird function, bird module, right? Suppose if I mention the next of the bird, and now this time these functions will be called from the animal module. When I run this, and these functions will be called from the animal module. But how we can solve this conflict? So we can solve this conflict like this. We can just put these functions like this. So first import the bird module and call this function, and then import the animal module and then call these functions. Now this way we can solve the problem. Now when I run this, we'll get exactly same output. Okay, so this is another way of calling the functions, and they are same in multiple modules. If the multiple modules are having the same function, we can call them by using these two approaches. All right. Now in these two examples, we have seen in the modules we have specified the functions, only functions. Suppose that modules are having classes, and within the classes there are some methods, but how we can access them in the main module? Now let us see that example. Let me just close them. Let me remove this. Now I'm going to show you if the modules are having classes and methods, how we can access them in another module. Okay, so here I'm going to create a new module, new Python file. So module is A, and in this module, in the A module, I will create one class. Let's say class animal. Okay, column. So in this animal, I will create a method. So def display, and this method is belongs to class self keyword representing, and here print, I just say I like cow. So here we need to understand what is the difference between function and method. The function method is exactly the same practically, but if you specify the code inside the class, we call as a method. If I specify the same piece of code outside of the class, we call as a function. All right. Now in the animal class, I have just created a function or a method and save this one. Okay, the animal is a class which contains a method called the display. And similarly, I will create one more module. Let's take Python file. I will name it as a b.py. So I have another module. So in this module, I will create one more class called as a bird. Okay, bird. I will create one more class as a bird. So in this class again, I'll create one more function def display, and here I will say just print message I like parrot. Okay, so this is a message. Now currently I have two modules. A module contains a display function, a display method, and B module is also contains a display method, and those methods are included within the classes. So A is a module which contains the animal class, which contains the display function. Let me write it here. So A is a module, right, which contains animal class, which contains a display function, display method. And in another module, B is another module which contains a bird class, and which is also having a display module or display function. These two are the functions, and these two are the classes, and these two are the modules. Okay, this is how I have just created. All right, so now I will create a main module. Now let's create a new module. Okay, I will name it as a main. Okay, now here I'll import these two modules, A as well as B. I will import these two modules. Let us say how we can import. So let's say import A. All right, so this is the first approach. Again, import B. Two approaches. So in the first approach, I have imported A and imported B. And now if I want to call these classes and methods, how we can call? By using this by using these modules, right? Suppose we cannot directly access these methods, right? If you want to access this method from the classes, we have to create an object for these classes. So let's create an object for animal. So how to create an object for animal? Let's say obj is equal to animal. Okay, now I have created. Is this correct notation? So it doesn't know, right, from which package animal is coming from. So animal is a class, but in which module it is present? It is present in the A module. So we must specify the module name dot class name. Module name dot class name. Now it creates an object. So by using this object, we can call display function, display method. Now it is perfectly right. I like how. And similarly, if I want to create one more object, object 2, and this time I will create an object for bird class, then I can access this display function. So by using a module name, is B. So B dot bird module I'm able to access and create a object, and by using this object, object 2 dot display method I can call. So what we have done is I have imported both the modules, and we cannot directly create an object for these classes, so that I have just called those classes by using the module name dot class name, and this creates an object, and through that object I can call these methods. This is one approach. So we have another approach again. So let's say this is approach 1. So in approach 2, what we need to do is I'll use from import. Okay, in approach 2 I will use a from import. Let us see like this. Let me just remove this first part. Now in the approach 2 I will just say from A import. We have only one class, right? What is that class? Animal class. Imported animal. Similarly, from B import bird class. Now I have imported. Now if you observe this, both the classes are having the same method. Animal method is having the display method, bird class is also having the same method. But how we can call them? We have to create an object again, right? So obj is equal to, and this time I no need to refer the module name because we already imported this class directly. So obj is equal to, directly we can create an object like this, and obj dot we can call display method here. Okay, and similarly I'll create one more object for bird class directly, right? So bird class, and I can call obj2 dot display function, display method. So this is another approach we can follow. Alright, so we have just imported both the classes from both the modules and directly have created an object for those classes. But in the first approach we have imported only module, so we have to refer these classes by using module name dot class name. That's the only difference. Alright, so this is how we need to work with the modules. We can import the modules and we can access the functions and we can access the methods. Alright, now let me show you one more example. Let me just remove this stuff. Suppose I have this module, I have one module. I want to find out how many classes are created or how many methods or functions are created in that module. Okay, how we can know that? Let me just create one module here. Okay, so my module name is, let's say, M. So in this module, okay, I will create one class called as A. Okay, A is my class. I don't specify anything. I'll just make it as a pass. There is no body for this class, and I will create one more class called as a B. And in this class, I will create two methods. Methods means which are part of the class. So def M1 self keyword, and here I will just print this is, in the double quotations, this is M1 method. This is M1 method. Similarly, I will create one more method, M2 self. Here I'll just say print this is M2 method. This is M2 method. Alright, now I have created two classes in this module, class A and class B, and class B contains two methods. Class B contains two methods. Now A and B are present inside the module. Okay, remember this. So what I have created is, I have just created one module. What is the module name is M, which contains two classes, A and B. And B classes contains again M1 and M2. So these are the methods and AB are the classes, M is the module. Alright. So now I will call this, I will access them from another module, from the main module. Let's create one more module. I will name it as a main module. So if you want to access these classes and methods from another module, first I need to import it, right? So let's import this. So I'll do the import. So import, what is the module name? M is a module name. M is a module name. So I have imported all the classes method from the module. Now what I need to do is I want to find out how many classes are created in this module. Okay, and we can do that very simple with a single statement. We have a dir function. This is a predefined function in Python. So dir, if I pass a module name, this will return how many classes we have in this particular module, how many classes are created in this module. Okay, now if you want to see that value, we have to print this value, print dir of n. That's it. Now when I run this code, it will give you list of classes which are created under this main module. So if I see here a and b, these are the classes we have just created under m. A and b is created. Okay, but we cannot see these methods. We can see only how many classes are created inside the module, but we cannot see how many methods are created inside the class. How many methods are created inside the class, we cannot see. We can see only how many classes are created inside the module. Okay, remember this point, very important. We can see how many classes created inside the module, but we cannot see how many methods are created inside the class. But there is a one condition here. If these methods are created as a functions without having any class, then we can count how many methods are created. See this, in this example, it is written only the classes. We cannot see anywhere methods, right? Method names we have see anywhere. So it means this is written only the classes. But suppose these functions I created directly like this without having class. So what is the difference between function and method? The same code, if I put outside of the class, that is called as a function. And the same code, if I include within the class, that is called as a method. Simple. Okay. Now here I have just created two functions. Okay, functions we don't need to self keyword. Not required. Self keyword is not required. So I have just created two functions here in the module. Now from the main module, if I run the same command, this will give you how many methods also we created, how many functions we created in the module. You got the difference? In the first example, I have found how many classes are created, but I could not find how many methods are present inside the class. But if if methods are created as a functions, then we can count how many functions are created inside the module by using this dir command. Now when I see this, you will get the method names also, function names also. Okay, this is additional command we have in modules. Okay, so this is all about module, how to create a modules, how to call those functions, classes from one module to another module, and how we can find the number of classes and number of functions present in the module, and so on. Okay, so that's all for video. So please subscribe my channel to get more updates on this. Thank you all.